Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode, we saw the ending of World War II, and in today's episode, well, we got a lot to go through. So, let's just get started with it. Alright, so, well, I guess I should say what this episode is about. This is the first part of the World War II peace treaty. Yeah, that's right. First part. World War One itself, or World War Four. No, World War Two has taken 4 episodes to to do. We're taking 2 episodes for the entire peace treaty, but um, unlike a lot of the WICSOs I have seen, I do not plan on stopping at episode 100. Oh no, I plan on going at least until episode 300. Actually, at least until 150. That's my bare minimum. So you guys will have a long time on this. Alright, so let's start off up here. Like, oh yeah, this is a very, very, very simple peace treaty. I didn't even have to draw on borders. What a country took over is what a country got. So now the Great Lakes Empire has direct access into the Atlantic Ocean. First they had the Hudson Bay though, and then the, I guess now I'm a whoops. Now I'm gonna call that country New England though, because let's be honest, it looks this is more initially didn't have all this up here. It's kind of more just this, but I'm calling them New England now, like it or not. And just because I'm going to reinforce my claim for calling them New England, they will be moving their capital for totally no reason, but they will be placing it in this major city. They actually will have reason. This one right here is or no, this one over here is getting like too overpopulated. So they're gonna move their government to a less populated major city, and also kind of like Canada, they had Quebec City and Toronto. No, Montreal and Toronto. Um, they put it in Ottawa. This major city here, and then the one down here, like two really big ones. So they kind of put it in the middle to keep them under control a bit better. All right, moving a bit south, we only see one thing happening down here, and that is all of this. This episode will be actually don't know if this episode's going to be longer or shorter. It's probably going to be a bit shorter than normal. If normal episodes are about 20 minutes, this one's probably going to be a bit shorter. Also, you probably already noticed, where's Catalonia's colonies or West France's? Well, the Great Empire, if you remember, they had a little something going on with Caspia and over here. Well, the thing with this is, so or the Caspians weren't really too good with the whole colonial idea. Kind of with like central China down here. So, they said, look, all right, so, tell these guys to get rid of their colonies, or we're gonna revolt, and then we're gonna have the RPGAU also help us and fund revolts in them. But if you notice something down by the RPGAU, well, you're gonna ask what RPGAU. So all the countries were forced to give up their colonies. There are some areas where they kept like small little islands, like down here in Catalonia, or this area here over in West France. Also, here's owned by Catalonia. Really, it was only Catalonia and West France that got to do this. So let's move over to Iberia, where we have this giant mess of a peace treaty. So, firstly, Galicia will be getting this. They got so cooked in the peace treaty that Catalonia gave them two of their own provinces. So Catalonia will be getting that back. And then the Dark Cyan team is becoming a absolute beast now. And they get all of this and here, including that pixel, and that pixel. Which means, other than like actual Catalonian parts, that they get these. And they also get a bit of land down here, but they're called, like, they can't really use it like an actual colony. Also, they get one of the Balearic Islands, which is really good for them. So now we have Gibraltar, Portugal, Galicia, and Catalonia a bit better shown now. Gibraltar's definitely too big to be actual Gibraltar, but oh well. Now we get to move a bit north with Catalonia, getting a little bit of their land back. But Switzerland making one heck of a return. Germany gets absolutely cooked, or they don't get absolutely cooked, but they lose a very large portion of the land. In fact, all of the land that Switzerland had invaded into Germany was any if Switzerland even owned the land in a province there, they got the land. This pixel here goes to Catalonia, I think. And West France gets these little bits here back. Switzerland will, of course, also get this tiny little pixel. North France is going to some of their land given back. In there. Alright, now we come over to Italy, who actually has a very simple thing. I didn't draw that part today. Alright. So, other than that, I didn't have to draw in anything, as they get the entire Italian peninsula away from the Adriatic Union, get the entire Italian peninsula, plus they got Sicily, Sardinia, and Corsica, and they also are getting that little thing right there. The countries that unionized into Switzerland and Italy respectively will be staying in each of those countries. Now we get to a bit more. Now we get to the cross alliance and them actually getting land, because up until now they've only lost land. But this lime country here is pretty much destroyed. They have less than 2/3 of their land remaining under their control, which is kind of insane if you think about it. So they've lost all of this. It's not like they've lost quite a lot. So these guys get that, 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 that. Alright. Now we move on to the Great Empire versus Russia, which is like the most anticlimactic part of this so far. There really wasn't a whole lot going on up here, but the Great Empire will be getting that. So it's that back. And Russia will mostly lose land. But they get like one province. Maybe it was two, three even. Didn't think that was actually three. Alright. Now we quickly go up to Norway, who gets all of them. Colony there, and then all of this goes to Sweden. I don't know if Germany got more land or lost more land. 'Cause it's really like at that midpoint-ish. We're gonna save the RPG area for later. Let's move into Africa, where there was one front line in the entire continent of Africa. There was one country at war, and that was this Guinea country, and they take quite a bit of land. All right, let's move on to I guess. All right, the RPGAU. As you may notice, this is different to say the least. So the RPGAU was completely dissolved and into the countries that were part of the original part. And then after that, the Great Empire and Ethiopia, which were the only two countries that invaded them, got to split up what they want. So Ethiopia made a deal with Somalia, which can see here. So outside of this, there really isn't much dividing up to do. Ethiopia will be getting all of that. The Cyan team will get the areas they had colonized back down here. I will add capitals to these guys. The Great Empire will be getting all of this. Also get, I think that's just one province right in there. And all the countries are split up here. Also, over here, oh, I got this map. I got these countries from back in episode 11, so the map is quite outdated, and they didn't have all of their land at their peak. Uh, so this here was actually part of Persia, but since Pakistan had technically broken away first, they got it. It's, you know what? Alright. So there's also this country here now. Um, Qatar. Well, now they're Qatar. Initially, they were Persia, but Qatar was forced to split into two, and the government got to decide whether they wanted to stay in Qatar or Persia. And since Qatar has all of the government from the RPGAU, they decided to stay in Qatar. That way, it's just kind of easier for them, and they don't have to do as much capital wise. So let's actually look at what the capitals for these countries are. Some of them might have the same capital, some of them might not. I honestly don't remember. The map was not the same map. So these guys put their capital right here. Blue teams is right there. Pink teams is right there. The orange team will keep the capital of the RPGU because they're lazy. This this major city will become the new capital for this Kuwait-ish nation. Actually, it's gonna be that one. Persia, I think that's about where Persepolis was. So that's what I'm gonna put their capital as. And these guys' capital right there. And Persindia, that's not even right. Persindias will go right there. Alright, we're gonna actually do that as the last thing. So we're gonna move to Lake Baikal-ish. We're not gonna do wrong map. Alright, so Lake Baikal will be getting this province and all of these provinces out of the gold team. So for that remains. So it's these two sections there. This country kind of got skinny. Back here, they were actually really close trade partners, but now they kind of hate each other. China, after many, 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 many years, finally beat Lake Baikal in a war. Finally. These two have long been historical rivals. Alright. To other countries that, well, first let's do I used to work. Let's do that. There was. God dang it. Where is it? Switch that back. Okay. Next, I did actually miss a pixel there. Alright, so Myanmar just became a giant. Or that's not Myanmar, that's Bangladesh. But nonetheless, they became a giant. This is also technically Bangladesh. I did steal this color from Bangladesh and WICSO. I also just now realized Antarctica down there. But yeah, the actual Myanmar will be getting this over here, and then they get these two as well. You notice Thailand has returned, partially did. These two parts go over to or they go to Sumatra, and all of these islands out here will go to India. However, most of actual Thailand will remain as Thailand. Vietnam, despite barely doing anything in this war, will get land because that's how winning a war works. All of that will go to China. Actually, we'll go to that later because that has some story behind it. This actually this is the new South China. Is this tan color? I switched things. Whoops. I switched things up a bit, and now this is the old South China, which I'm now gonna probably call Hong Kong or something, or maybe their capital's over closer to Macau. So, but eh, probably not gonna come back after that one. Alright, now to Central China, who one of my friends said I should call Shanghai, although Shanghai is more right there, right? So I'm just gonna call these guys Central China. Right. Also, South China will get, whoops, the new South China will be getting for that. Or should I just call them new and old South China? I might do that. New South China. Look-y kind of sounds fire. Right. Now, Sumatra also gets land from the Philippines area. Take over those islands and that island there. And obviously they're take over that. Since China will not be holding on to it. Actually, you know what? Nah, they're not gonna. So, uh, Borneo takes, or Sumatra takes over those. I might call them Indonesia. They're not really Indonesian. I could call them Malaysia. So their two capitals are in Malaysian parts. Alright. As for the rest of the Philippines, they will return to the Philippine nation, and well, their capital never had changed, so there's not a need to change it back to anything. Alright, now for this up here. The two countries that have never worked together in their life up until World War II, um, well, they now seem like the closest buddies. After losing so many wars, China got a reformed government. Still a if- it's still a democracy. However, they have they had some changes with their presidential stuff. And their current president is actually one of the Korean, I think it's not even the right thing. Yeah, so the current president of China is one of the Korean monarchs, or the Korean kings. It's one of his closest friends who moved to China. Um, so it's kind of funny how they both ended up in politics. Well, this guy was born into politics, but yeah. So they work closely together now. Uh, the people of the countries aren't too like fond of it, really. These two have been at each other's throats for who knows how long at this point. So Korea will be getting Taiwan. Um, so yeah, now these two are close nations with each other. And also in this episode, we will take a look at peace treaty stuff, or not peace treaty, alliance stuff, because there is definitely going to be changes in alliances. All right. Well, I think that is every peace treaty except for one, which leaves one last thing: the Siberian Revolution peace treaty. Firstly, those rejoin with Siberia, as well as that. And just gonna click on that. All right. So, all the parts that go over to Siberia after this war, great. It's always gonna be 1 pixel there. Okay. So, we have a new Siberian nation. Clearly, I of course I did it twice. Why wouldn't I have? All right. So obviously there's a new Siberian nation, and God dang it, I did it for every country, every single one of them. All right, where was I? Oh yeah. So new Siberian nation, um, terrorists for one. They're a terrorist organization. They don't really care about their citizens either, which will instantly be making them red stability. But they don't care about that. They just care about money. It's, you guys couldn't even see that. But so yeah, we have all that now. Let's go to the alliances layer. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna make this big because we're just pretty much gonna reset all the alliances and redo everything. The only things that really will be staying, or I'm gonna try and make stay, are the economic alliances. But even still, that's gonna change if I can be on the right layer. And in the next episode, I'm probably gonna have the economic and military alliances on different layers because that honestly seems really smart, and I probably should have done that a while ago. But so most of the colonies are getting removed. I'm just gonna I'm shorting that up. So all the colonial countries, every country in the Americas is leaving the Triangle Alliance. Let's see, smaller now. Right. So these guys will go back. Will go back to the Triangle or the Trapezoid Alliance, and the Caribbean nation probably will rejoin that. They just didn't. They didn't. The Caribbean nation was never really on the side of the RPGAU. So, and actually, with the Triangle Alliance, it's completely disbanded. Start with that. However, there will be three alliances coming out of it, or actually four. I'm just gonna erase these squares. Alright, get rid of every colonial cross. What's that? Alright, so, oh, and also, Ethiopia will leave the Cross Alliance. Alright, so we will have some other alliance stuff happening on, or in the next episode with new new countries and colonial areas. But let's start up here. So we do see the return of the Circle Alliance. I should make that smaller. Um, I don't know what I'm doing that, if I'm just gonna do that, and then that, and expand on that. Alright, come on. Alright, so Circle Alliance is reformed. A couple countries are in it. Switzerland, however, will not join in either of these two alliances. Um, Switzerland and a few other nations will actually make their own military alliance. Russia, of course, is going to stay in circles. They were the leader of it, and they still are. But Europe is almost every country in Europe is going to be in an alliance at this point. Iceland, I think, is going to be the. Actually, there's a few though. So we see this. The Circle Alliance has reformed, and one new country that was not in it to begin with will rejoin. Just these guys, they were in the Triangle Alliance. Alright, now for Switzerland's alliance. If you guessed it would be the or the Square Alliance, you're wrong. It is it's gonna be the Diamond Alliance because we haven't had diamonds yet. So the Diamond Alliance, and it's only gonna have a few nations in it. This country that was a union. Kaliningrad joins. Yellow team joins. Ireland and England join. And there's now two countries in the entirety of Europe that are not in an alliance, which is Estonia and Iceland. They're like the most neutral countries ever, so. Alright, now let's head over here and reform, maybe. Alright, now we see the Trapezoid Alliance reforms. But not as many countries are going to be in it. For example, Greenland does not rejoin. However, they do stay in the economic alliance. These two here, they don't join. I don't even know if they were in it to start. The Caribbean or Central America will also be joining it. And then these guys join. But nobody else will be joining it. Neither of these two. Or none of the other original countries. However, we do see Alaska joins this alliance as well. Now, alright. But we do see another country joining another kind of faraway alliance down here. These guys historically tied to who? Switzerland. So they joined Switzerland's alliance. So most of this area was colonized by Switzerland. and they share some really deep connections with Switzerland. So, but they're not the only ones that join a kind of further away alliance. Well, not yet, at least. We'll go back to there. Alright, so with the RPGAU, every member of it, or every ex-member of it, kind of feeling a little bit weak right now, especially with the Great Empire over there. If they ever want more land, they got three weaker countries right on their border, plus a couple others that they could easily take over. So, who are they gonna call for help to? Well, um, we see the Triangle Alliance gets reformed pretty much right after it's destroyed, and finally the Cyan Iberian, or the Cyan Somalian country will do something. Uh, oh, they they've done a lot actually. But most of these countries will join the Triangle Alliance after Ethiopia reforms it. Yeah, that's right. Ethiopia formed the Triangle Alliance. Well, this is a new Triangle Alliance, though, so I'm just using the same shape. But almost every RPGAU member or ex-RPGAU member will rejoin. The only ones that don't are Pakistan and Tibet. They rebelled away earlier and don't have the same ties. So there's that on their hands. Now we have one final alliance to redo, and that is the Sword Alliance. So obviously Korea's gonna stay in it, but who are Korea's closest allies now? Still the old Siberians. Now there's China. They're kind of distancing themselves from like Baikal, who's now kind of leaning a bit more towards Russia. But then there's also these guys down here, and then you've got Vietnam, Cambodia, and probably the biggest one, which is these guys, Sumatra. Yep, totally remembered that. All right, so that will do it for the alliances. Also, there's going to be a new economic alliance. If it's really just more of a subdivision of the current economic alliance. It's for all the Square Team members. You have to be in the Square Team alliance to join it. But be the check mark. Yeah, we're gonna need the check mark for it. Actually, nah. We'll just we'll make it the Square Economic Alliance. So, there is one exception, which is these guys. Just kidding. Obviously, they're not gonna get in. But all the Square Team Alliance members join it instantly because Korea is experiencing great economic growth. But they're not the only ones, no. Great Empire or the Great Lakes Empire after getting access to the to the Atlantic Ocean, they're getting economic growth. After getting a lot of Mesopotamian lands, the Great Empire is starting to grow a bit. Ethiopia's just been growing. Even in Switzerland, especially, they've got the most growth since the beginning, even though they don't have ocean access. Yeah, they're definitely growing still. So, uh, well, you know what? These are definitely outdated. We did power rankings right before World War II started, but there's no RPG for second place. South China ain't no third. So let's redo these for the last event of this episode. If I could be on the right layer. Okay. So actually, no country stays in the same position. Sorry, not even the Great Empire is. We have a new number one strongest nation in the entire world. You'd really think the Great Empire is just like that much stronger, but they are experiencing some high instability. And our new number one strongest nation is now America. No, it's the Great Lakes Empire. But number two is now the Great Empire. The Great Empire. Both of these guys are great something empire. For these guys, it's just a space. But number three, we now go down to Ethiopia for. And why don't we do four? Who is America? Number five, we hand off to Korea. And number six is China. That's one thing they dislike right now about Korea, which is they didn't give them any ocean access. Number seven, just kidding, we go further south. But number eight is this South China. This major city is going to be their capital, just so you know. Alright, heading over to number nine, it is Switzerland. They've gotten some of their old lands back, which they've really developed. And moving on, falling all the way down to number 10 is Russia. Number 11, we head to the Adriatic Union. They really, they really got some stuff out of that war. Number 12 is Germany. They kind of switched up roles. But heading to number 13, we see these guys down here who, why don't they have a capital? Um, okay, that was weird, but alright, number 14, we hand over to Bangladesh. And number 15, we, um, number 15, we do give to Catalonia. Actually, no. Italy, number 15, Catalonia, 16, and Gibraltar, 17. We said Gibraltar is 17. Those guys are 16. You know what, I'm just gonna use both those. 16 and 9. Not 169th. No, there's not even that many nations. So 18th, Mexico's gonna be the only one to stay in their same position. This computer's glitching out so much. Alright, and number 19 is West France. After the fall of their colonial empire, they are definitely down in the dumps. But our number 20 strongest nation is going to be Central China. Alright, well, I'm going to do alliances in the next episode. But if you enjoyed today's episode of What If Civilization Started Over, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.